33. My name is Glenn, Hustler Hacks on YouTube. Yong, what's up?
What's going on, man?
We are trying a new software. So now you can see our names on the corners.
So we are trying a new software, and why? Explain to the people what's going on.
So YouTube had Hangouts on air and it's gone now. So August 1st was the last day. And now if you plan to go live with 2 or more people, you have to get a new software.
But do you know why they made the changes?
No. Apparently Hangouts on Air was like old software, and I guess they're heading to a different direction, but I have no clue why.
Because you would think, if I was the head of YouTube, and even if the software is outdated, I would want to make it, I would update it, but allow people and users to have guests and all that. I mean, isn't that what most people do?
Pretty much. And
So
a lot
why?
of people use it for podcasts too. That was like their main
Right,
complaint. So
just like we do, right?
yeah, I
Uh,
don't know. Yeah.
it's just strange how corporations think sometimes. You wonder who's making the decisions over there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know
Uh,
what they were thinking.
but you know what? Let's just get into our numbers, and then we'll get into the show. We have a lot to talk about. You want to go ahead with your numbers?
All right, numbers last 7 days, 57 products sold, 4 returns. Estimated royalties $164.63.
Okay, my last 7 days, 69 sold, 4 returns, product purchases $1,320.75. Estimated royalties 259.47. So that's $259.47. It's pretty much flatlined for me. I don't see. I mean, if I see a raise, is it's not that significant, and when it does drop, it's not that significant. It's pretty much flatlined the last several weeks. So yeah, so nothing major really. I don't see anything happening. Some people, and when I say some, it's a very, very uh, small percentage of people that are doing really, really good, at least from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most people are still suffering from the summer slow sales and whatnot, which is expected. I get it, right? Um, but it is frustrating. But I want to get into uh, what's going on with you and El Paso. So I know you and I talked over text the last couple of days, and I'm glad that I'm glad that you're okay. I'm glad that the family's okay. And for those of you guys that don't know what we're talking about, there was a shooting with in El Paso, and then 13 hours later there was another one in Dayton, Ohio. Um,
And
what what's
even before the El Paso one, we had the Gilroy.
Yeah, so and that's something that I didn't talk about the previous week, but Gilroy, California, is is part of Santa Clara County, which is where I live, and something I didn't talk about. But yeah, it's 30 minutes away from where I live. In fact, when I was doing reselling more, I have my little antique booth.
Mm-hmm.
My antique booth was in Gilroy, not too far away from where they have the festival. So obviously, we lost 3 people at that shooting, and I think last I heard we lost about 22 people in El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Mm-hmm.
that still the case?
22 right now.
22, and I don't remember the number in Dayton. Um, and I don't want to make this into a political show. I've said this plenty of times. I'm probably the least political savvy person when it comes to politics. Sometimes I just don't understand it. I have to ask my colleague. He'll have to explain to me at times. Uh, but what I do know is this is obviously very tragic. And people are blaming the president, and I get it. Look, I don't support Trump. I think that guy's a dirtbag. But this has been happening long before Trump. That's all I'm going to say. If you guys want to argue with me or debate with me, it's not going to happen. Like I said, I'm not a political person. It's just I just know that this has been happening long before Trump. Did you know this, Glenn? And I didn't know this until my friend told me this. And I don't know how accurate these numbers are. Um, but he was telling me that there's at least one school shooting in this country every day.
Every day.
Every day. Think about that. Again, I don't know. I don't know how accurate that number is, but if it's true, just think about that. Right? Somewhere in this country, a kid or someone is taking a gun to school, right, and putting these kids in danger. Um, very, it's unfortunate. It's sad. It's sad. But what's it? I mean, what's it like in El Paso right now?
I mean, it's I don't know, the day everything happened, it was just kind of, I mean, we've never experienced anything like this before. I mean,
Sure.
the going through, we're a small city, and going through the last like 20 years, we've never had this many people combined in like 20 years die from gunshot wounds. So it's
Hmm.
like, it's something totally different. And now that, 2019, 1 year beats all 20 years, and everyone is just kind of down a little, shocked from it.
Of
But I
course.
think,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think, I don't know. It was really cool that afterwards, it's like the funeral homes worked together, and they're like, whoever, died from this, we're paying for all the funeral services.
Wow. So the
Um,
community is coming through.
yeah, like, and they came through quick. And then right after that too, all the blood donations, like lines outside the doors. Like they didn't even have enough people to work to get all the blood donations. So it just happened quick, and everybody was right there, willing to help one another. And yesterday I went to, that same Walmart, and, paid my respects and everything. And it just seems very different. I mean, this is a Walmart that like I've gone to plenty of times, and I've sourced plenty of times. And the mall is like our main mall. So it's like if you live in El Paso, you've been there, you know, who knows how many times. And so it just has a totally different feeling. And even that same day, yesterday, the store seemed a little empty when I went sourcing. And some people were saying too, it just feels like, they have like a weird feeling to them going into stores and looking over their shoulder and feeling different things. And but I don't know, to me I just felt like, if you live in fear and you don't, do the normal things that you were doing before, then evil wins. And you have to, it's going
Yeah.
to take time, of course. But I think today was a lot better than yesterday,
Yeah.
at least when I was out there.
I was having this conversation with a friend, and it's exactly what you just said, because he was saying, "Oh man, we shouldn't go out, and we shouldn't go to the malls, and we shouldn't go to public outings." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "The minute you isolate yourself and keep yourself locked in, evil wins. They
Yeah.
win, right?" I'm like, that's the last thing you want to do. What you want to do is you want to just keep doing what you do on a normal basis, and just be more alert. Be aware of your surroundings. Keep your head on a swivel, and just pay attention to what's going on. But the minute you lock yourself in, you're right. Evil wins. Just out of curiosity, I don't know if that's the same mall. Is that the mall where they have? I think is Barnes and Nobles.
Um, no, that one we had Barnes Noble like in between there. That
Okay,
mall
because I was
is
gonna say
outside of that mall actually, but it's very, very close to it though.
okay, because I
Yeah,
because I remember again when I was doing reselling a lot more. I remember I was in El Paso doing some sourcing, and I wasn't sure if that was the same mall or not. I
yeah.
just,
No, it's super
but
close though.
okay, okay. But glad to see you're okay. And again, uh, it's just really, really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody too that sent me, emails and DMs. And I know I wasn't right in there. I mean, I am affected because it is, my city that I've, been born and raised and still live here. But I wasn't, generally affected like as far as like being in that area or anything at the time. But I do
Mhm,
appreciate everybody that had asked, just to see like, hey,
of course,
I saw El Paso on the news. I thought about you, and so I appreciate that.
sure. Yeah, no doubt, man. But getting back to what print on demand here, let's see. My SC integration with Nimble is almost complete. Um, and when I say almost, they've been fulfilling my orders, but
Okay.
for whatever reason, we can't seem to integrate the whole tracking system to
Hmm.
automate. Meaning, so whenever they fulfill my order, uh, the tracking number should automatically go into my Etsy dashboard, right?
Hmm.
But for whatever reason, it's not doing that. And I'm sure it's an easy fix. It's something where we just go into the settings and adjust it there. And I'm sure it's so simple, but again, uh, the reason, and again, it shouldn't be this difficult. But again, Nimble, Zach didn't create Nimble to, uh, he didn't start Nimble to, start fulfilling Etsy orders, right?
Hmm.
His main selling point is the whole platform, the Nimble platform. But I asked him to fulfill orders for me, and he agreed. Um, but yeah, so once I get that fixed, everything should be on track. Everything should be automated. Everything should be somewhat hands off. Because right now, every time I get an order and they fulfill it, I have to go into my Etsy dashboard and enter the tracking number manually, which is,
Oh, okay.
again, it's a little tedious.
It's
Um, I,
extra steps that.
yeah, I mean, I know there's a way that it will. We just need to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I'll keep you guys updated with that. Someone asked me, and I don't know if I answered this question last week or not. I can't remember. I guess I should have just went back and listened to last week's episode, but I guess I'll just talk about it again. Someone was asking why I'm using Nimble. It's because number one, I've always been a big time supporter of small businesses,
Hmm.
um, and and I enjoy working with startups. Startups obviously working in Silicon Valley, they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. And granted, Nimble, they're not in Silicon Valley, but they are a startup, and I want to work with them. So I've been working with them a lot behind the scenes. Yeah, so we'll see how that works out. Again, it's just they're growing pains basically.
Yeah. It comes with
Uh,
it. I mean, nothing's gonna be perfect right when they start, or I mean, it's gonna take time. Period.
yeah, but here's the thing: they've been fulfilling my orders, and I haven't received any messages from any customers complaining.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's a good thing because
Yeah.
normally, if if something goes wrong, you'll be the first one to find out, right? Oh, you
Exactly.
sent me the wrong item, or it's the wrong size, or whatever. I haven't heard anything, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
Um, but other than that, man, I mean, obviously you had a rough weekend. Was that Sunday that it happened?
Saturday. Yeah.
That was Saturday. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
I myself had a pretty rough weekend. Nothing like yours. Obviously, you went through some hard times. Mine was just stupidity. I went to a friend's house. We were doing some shots of some adult beverages, and took me a couple of days to recuperate. And yeah, that was all bad. It was all bad. But hey, we have. Hey, just out of curiosity, before we go
Okay.
into today's episode, so I know you said YouTube. I don't know if you want to call it YouTube or Google. They made the changes. We're using this new software. What's this called?
StreamYard is what
Okay,
it's called.
StreamYard. Out of all the ones out there, what made you pick this one?
Apparently there was only like two or three other ones out there, and apparently this one was the easiest one to have like multiple people interact with you, and you can screen share, which those are like my main two things that I need.
Hmm.
Um, and other than that, I was like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna go with this.
Okay, cool. Because I can only see half my face right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can also do this one.
Ah,
So
there we go.
the other
That's
one,
much better.
yeah. So this one's kind of a little bit more zoomed in, and then you can like go a little bit out, and then we can have we can have another guest. When we do.
Okay.
So then we can switch it to where we have multiple guests on the sides, and
Good.
we can even do, I think, like multiples. It doesn't let me do it here, but multiples, and we can have like a screen share on the side. So there's some different options that we could play with on this thing.
Hmm.
So not
Okay. I didn't know
bad.
you had you were able to make adjustments like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm
Cool.
pretty pumped. Looks like it's pretty cool. Working. People said also it looked a little bit better when I went live. I just did like a little test. Said it looked good, so should be good to
Okay.
go.
Were you a little nervous about the changes? Were you like, oh man,
Yeah,
no more Hustler Hacks lives on Mondays?
I was like, ah,
Was it
crap. Like I
Mondays?
don't.
No, 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 Wednesdays, right?
Yeah, Wednesdays. I was like, ah, crap. I don't know. I got to figure this thing out quick. Well, even doing the podcast, like I was trying to send you the link. You're like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And I was like, man, I got to figure this thing out
Yeah,
now.
because we were supposed to normally record yesterday, and that's obviously when they made the changes, and not yesterday, but
August
earlier.
1st, and I
Yeah,
like totally forgot about it. And then,
and you were saying that you were having a hard time until you bought this particular software.
yeah,
Cool. So you haven't heard the interview yet,
no.
but today's episode, you have to go back and listen to it because it's really good. Um, you guys probably heard me talk about Houman a lot, and we kind of gave you a teaser last week based on what we had talked about. But Houman, he is like an Etsy guru, man. He crushes it on Etsy. The guy does well over 10Ks in sales every month. Was able to create a lifestyle for himself to run a full-time business and travel. Uh, I would say most of the time out of the year. I know right now he's back home for personal reasons, but he does travel quite a bit. So I guess you can, you can label him as a digital nomad. I know a lot of you guys are into that whole movement, which is a good,
Hmm.
which is not, hey, nothing against it. But yeah, so I guess you can label him as someone who's a digital nomad. But the cool thing is, he normally doesn't give interviews, right? He's a little behind it. He's kind of in the shadows. He's in the groups and whatnot, but he never comments. He hardly ever comments. Never really says anything. Um, so I was very fortunate, man. When I asked him, I was like, "Hey, would you mind if I interview for the podcast?" He goes, "Sure." He goes, "For you, Young, I'll do it." And uh, let me just apologize in advance. The audio is a little bad because we recorded the podcast in the lobby of a hotel when we were in San Francisco. So you're going to hear a lot of people moving around in the back, people moving their luggages and whatnot. And there were a couple of sections I had to delete because it was just too loud and you just couldn't understand what was going on.
Okay.
But I tried to make it seem. I tried, when I made the edits, I try to make it so you don't really miss much. But again, I do apologize for the audio because again, it was in the lobby and there was a lot of people just moving in and out of the lobby. So yeah, let's check that out.
All right, guys, we have a very special episode this week. This is special in the sense, well, number one, let me apologize for the audio quality. I am actually in a lobby of a hotel in San Francisco, so there might be some echoing. But we have a special guest because my guest is actually sitting right next to me. We have a live guest. Actually, we have a couple of guests, and I'll talk to both here in a second. Um, what was that? I know. I almost forgot about you. I almost. But my good friend Houman is here with me, and Houman, let me first say hello to the listeners.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here, Young.
Yeah,
Good to see
man.
you.
And I just wanted to say I really appreciate you doing the show because I know you normally don't like the exposure. You kind of want to stay in the shadows and all that. But I asked him and he agreed. So I'm very grateful. So thank you for this
Oh, it's
opportunity.
good to be here.
And to your right you have your lovely girlfriend Miss Rosie Nguyen. Say hello.
Hi everyone. Thank
Yeah.
you for listening to us.
Of course, I've been wanting to talk to you guys for some time now. So again, like I said, I know you guys normally don't like the exposure.
Yep.
So it really means a lot that you guys are talking to me today. But you guys might remember that I've mentioned Houman's name a few times over the last several months. He's a local guy. He lives here in the Bay Area, but he crushes Etsy. He does really good on Etsy. And we're going to talk a little print on demand, but I kind of want to talk more about the lifestyle that you were able to create for yourself because of print on demand. Right. So give us a quick introduction. Like, give us maybe a little quick introduction and a background of yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So I started originally on Amazon FBA, and this was going back 3-4 years. And about 2 years ago was when I first started getting into print on demand, and that's when I started talking to you and RJ, and that's when things started. And originally it was with merch, and about a year and a half ago or so, I got into Etsy.
Yeah.
And then so that's pretty much what I do for the most part is print on demand, which is merch and Etsy. That's about we all do many different things, but I would say print on demand is the majority.
We wear different hats,
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. So and also one thing that I always wanted to do was to be able to work from anywhere. To be able to travel, that's my passion.
Independent location.
Independent location, and that was my vision from the Amazon FBA days. And about a year and a half ago, I was able to achieve it, in which I was able to take care of financial things while also traveling.
That's awesome.
Abroad. And then so basically, out of the year, we spent about 9 months or so traveling to different places, and we actually have an Instagram page as well that we document. The journey.
We'll talk about that too. But you are back home for personal reasons we won't get into. But you are back home. But Rosie, you were actually traveling because you guys met in not Thailand. I'm sorry, in Vietnam. So this is you're traveling.
Yep, this
right?
is me traveling.
Yeah. So
we actually work together as well.
And you guys work together.
Yeah.
And when you guys are traveling abroad, you guys do everything from your computers, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's. I don't know where to start here. Well, so you started traveling when?
Traveling and working. That was about, I would say, last summer was the first trip was to Thailand.
That's when you first started?
That was the first. I mean, I always love to travel, but that was the first time traveling long term and working at the same time. So basically, last year I flew to Bangkok and I was in Thailand for about 3 months. And then from there, I went to Malaysia, Indonesia, and then there was actually a trade show in Hong Kong for Amazon FBA. And I was about to go to Hong Kong, and I said, let me go to Vietnam for about a week and see how Vietnamese is. And Vietnam absolutely blew my mind away. I loved it, and actually the first couple of days of that, I met my girlfriend. That 1 week trip became a 3 month trip. And so I went to Hong Kong, came back to Vietnam. That was Q4.
So you did end up going to that conference though?
I did, yeah. Okay. So I went to exactly. So I went to the conference. So we met 2 days in. And then a few days later, I went to the conference in Hong Kong, and then I came back, and this was Q4 as well. So, and then we just stayed in Vietnam for 3 months, and then traveled all over Vietnam.
That is cool.
And it was
that is cool.
Really incredible.
And I actually know the story because we talked last week, and I'm just obviously asking for because of the listeners. So I'm just gonna play like I don't know, but I'm just gonna ask you the same questions, So you were only supposed to be in Vietnam for a week,
right?
But you ended up meeting Rosie. How'd you guys meet? And again, I know the story, but for the listeners.
So basically, we met in a cafe, and she was working for an American French company at the time, and we were both working, and we started talking about work, and then we liked each other. We went on some dates, and then I flew to Hong Kong. Came back, and then we continued to. Then I started traveling as well. So Rosie would join me on the weekends because she was working at a regular job. And so Monday to Friday, I would be at a place, and then she would fly in Friday and stay with me till Sunday. So we did this a few times, and then and she was the general manager of that company. And an idea came to my head. I said, you like traveling, we love spending time with each other. Why don't we work together? And you take a lead on some of the Etsy stores and some of the projects we have. So we thought about it. At first, she didn't agree with it. She said, I don't want to work with somebody that I'm dating.
Like I saw that every day in my old company. Like they work together, they always go through like a fight or something like that. But that's why like when he offered that, I say no. Immediately say no and say like.
I can understand because I know one of the things that we say here is you should never, at least here in the States, that you should never mix your personal life with
Right.
business.
Right.
So I can completely understand. Going back to your travels, now you guys were traveling in Far East Asia, and I've traveled, to certain parts of Southeast Asia, and it's relatively cheap. Is that so? Was the whole plan of traveling to Southeast Asia on purpose because it is cheaper, or do you have other plans of maybe going to like Europe at some point?
So it wasn't actually even the financial part, because even if you travel through Eastern Europe or Southeast Asia or Latin America, it's all pretty relative, I think. Even though Southeast Asia is a little bit cheaper, but it was mostly because right after college, I actually spent 3 months in Southeast Asia, and I love that. I love the beach, and I love the hot weather and hot and humid weather.
I fell in love with it too, man.
That's what I love. So for that reason, I was like, I want to go back and stay some more time there. But to your point, it is actually, people ask me on Instagram, for example, they're like, how do you travel so much? Like, what do you how do you cover the cost? And I tell them, I say it's actually cheaper if you bring down your cost in the States. I think most of your listeners are probably in the States, right?
Yeah,
So or
most of
Europe
them
or
are.
wherever. So if you're able to bring down your cost and your debt and those things, and you travel, you actually save money. So for me personally, I save money traveling and doing what I love compared to buying a house here.
And it makes sense because you live here in the Bay Area,
right, which is one of the most
and
expensive places.
I say this on the show all the time, and I don't think people really can comprehend how expensive it is. I try to tell people, imagine everything being double or even almost triple here, right? And people thinking that I'm joking. Explain to the people, man, because you're obviously from the Bay Area. How expensive is it here?
It really is. I mean, I went to school in San Francisco, and SF by itself is one of the most expensive places. I mean, right now, if you want to get a studio in SF, you could easily look at 2,500, up, depending on where you are, just
That's
for a studio.
That's
and then
ridiculous.
that goes with anything. I mean, with food, with drinks, and everything is just a lot more expensive. But it's a beautiful place. It is a very nice place. But yeah, so I always tell everybody is that if you're able to manage your work online, whether you work for yourself or if you're doing a job, if you could negotiate a remote work with them, and I think we're gonna see more and more of that in the future, in the next few years. I think, and you love traveling, you could really definitely do that, and have it be cheaper, make it more financial sense to you.
Yeah. Well, I want the listeners to understand something. Again, I know we talked about this last week, but just pretend like we didn't. I kind of poke and tease the millennials a lot, right? Because I find that they're, at least from my own personal experience, they're very lazy. They're not dedicated to hard work. You guys are obviously millennials, but you guys work. You guys work, and I know this because we talk on a regular basis, right? We talk on a regular basis, and we're always talking strategy. And you guys are working, so it's not like, and I know there's the whole digital nomad movement and all that. I get it. That's something that I want to do. I want to travel more, and we talked about this. I get it, but I think what's happening is the younger generation is they see stuff like that, right? They see the people working on the beach on a laptop, and they think it's easy and there's no work involved. But you guys are actually working. Granted, you have your Instagram account, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, and you know everything looks glamorous. You know, oh, Houman and Rosie, man, you know they're a great looking couple and they're enjoying their time with their lives, traveling. But you guys don't really document the other side of that, which is working, and you guys work.
No, you have to. And there's a lot of millennials that I know. I mean, RJ is another great example of somebody who works really, really hard.
Yeah, and we talked about
he's,
this.
You know, he's a millennial. I think, and we have a lot of friends that work really hard. But I think there is a perception now of like passive income that oh, easy money. I'm just gonna do something.
Exactly.
It's gonna bring me money for the next 5 years, 10 years, and you know, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Right? There's no such a thing. You know, like there's no even yes. So merch is close because you put some work and then you get the royalty and those things. But even that is not really. You have to put consistent work.
It has to be consistent.
You can't just put it up and then.
And it's not hard labor, but it's just. And let me give you guys a good example. And I gave this example before, and I was telling you this the other day. There's this kid who went through the same program that I did at San Jose State. In fact, I would say he's a better designer than me. But he's lazy in the sense that he's always complaining about money, but he doesn't do anything about it. Yeah, he has a job, right? But he's still always complaining about how he doesn't have any money. And I always tell him, right? This is something that I always preach. Go out and network, right? In the last 2 months, and I've documented this on the podcast, I've been able to get freelance work, and you know this, right? Developing websites. The last couple of months where I've probably made more money than I've ever had in the past year or two in a month. And I told him, I was like, you gotta go out and network. You know what he told me? He goes, oh, next time you go to this networking event, can you take my business cards and pass them out for me? Like you fucking you
so
do your
that
homework.
fit your label really well, right?
No, and
the millennials.
And I got so irritated when he said that. I was like, you lazy bum. No, I'm not doing your work. You go out there and network.
Right.
You tell them what you can do, and get that job.
Right.
But you guys are constantly working, and I know that for a fact. So are you guys choosing tropical places on purpose so you can pack light? Because you don't really wear like jeans and stuff, right? It's mostly flip flops and t-shirts.
Right.
Because my guess is you probably want to pack light.
Yes, I mean I prefer carry-on. Although when you do a long trip like 6-7 months at a time, you can't put your stuff in the carry-on. So I have to take a suitcase. But no, we just both like humid and hot beach and those kinds of things. You know, compared to the cold. I mean, SF is really.
Yeah.
This is her first time in the U.S. actually. She came last month to the U.S. Rosie, and this is cold for her. So I can't imagine anywhere else going as cold.
Yeah, every
and this
single
is
time I
summertime.
left the house, I always have a jacket. Even right now, like it's pretty much sunny outside, but I still need my jacket.
Last night must have been cold for you, huh?
Yeah.
We went out last night and we had dinner and we had some drinks. And
I was freezing.
were you cold? Yeah, that was cold. It gets worse, like right around December, January time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it gets really bad here. I mean, I'm sure there's other parts of the country where it's much colder, but I mean, if you think that last night was cold, I thought it was nice personally.
Yeah. But I mean, but also you grew up in a like an
Yeah,
average. It doesn't get cold in Vietnam. Yeah. So.
When do you guys plan on going back?
Probably September. I am here for the personal reasons, and it depends on how those things go. But our flight back right now is mid-September.
Mid-September.
And we're gonna go back to Vietnam, spend some time in Vietnam, and then go to Philippines, which both of us have never been.
Yeah.
And our VAs, many of our VAs are actually in Philippines, so the plan is to go there and also.
Are you gonna meet up with them?
Yeah, meet up with them.
Yeah.
And go and a lot of them are actually near each other. And for some, because of like we have a lot of referrals. So we have like 2-3 VAs in different places together because they kind of brought each other and they've been with us for about a year and a half, some of them. Yeah. And so we're gonna go to some of the different places in Philippines, meet up with them. But that's kind of the plan. We'll see.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I've been to the Philippines twice now. And I know Rosie keeps giving me a hard time because I've never been to Vietnam.
Yeah.
But that is one of my goals, Rosie. I definitely do want to go. I think the Philippines, I mean, depending on what you guys are into, It is a tropical place. Manila probably isn't somewhere that's very nice. I think it kind of reminds me of Bangkok.
Right. It's a big Southeast Asian city.
Yeah. Excuse the noise, guys. We have some people walking by. But yeah, Manila. I think I would say just go, do your thing for about a day or two.
Yeah.
There's not much to see. I really enjoyed my time in Cebu and Boracay. If you guys are really into the beaches and stuff, that's the place to go. I heard Boracay is probably better than Cebu, but I personally like them both. I don't know if you guys are into scuba diving, but they have scuba diving and all that, snorkeling.
Great.
But yeah, so I've been there. But again, I've never been to Vietnam, and I want to go there. And we were talking about some of the exotic foods that you guys have eaten. You want to tell the listeners
one that is your favorite?
well, I haven't tried it yet, but should we mention what this is?
Yeah. So we were talking about this, and Yong asked me what is the craziest food that you ate in Vietnam, and I said rat. And you really didn't you didn't like that at all.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
And I told Young, and I said it's not the rat that we're used to. It's not the rat in the New York subway station. These are rats.
It's not that huge.
Yeah, and it's rats that were grown up for food purposes. So they're in a grass fed and.
I don't buy that. Okay. Here's the thing: when you say they're grass fed, are they from the time that they're born? Are they raised in a cage and just fed, grass?
They're raised in a farm.
No, it's just like they just grow naturally in a farm, normally in rice field.
Yeah, hell
and
no.
Rice and something like that.
Hell no. I told you that I had balot, which is the duck embryo in the Philippines.
She loves that actually.
Yeah, I've had that, but rats are known to carry diseases.
But you cook it. So is as pigs.
I don't know.
No, speaking about that, like you see, like Vietnamese, we eat it throughout the year. We are living healthy. Nothing happened. We cannot say it's poor disease, right?
But I don't know if I can.
It's the mental thing.
Okay,
right?
so let me ask you. She presented you a rat.
Yeah.
What was your response? You said hell no, right?
No, I was perfectly okay with it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think I would no.
For me, I kind of think of all of those things as equal, whether it's a rat or a chicken or a pig or a cow, or whatever it is. I kind of see them.
See, because and you brought up a pig, but I think pork has become such it's become like a regular dish of our society that we don't even think about how gross it is, right? Like we all love bacon.
Yep.
But you don't really hear about people talking, eating rats. And so when I hear that, I'm just like, there's no way. And then we were looking at some pictures last night, and I was like, I don't know, man. I
showed you a picture of a rat eating a watermelon.
Yeah, that was probably staged. That was probably staged. But we'll see, Rosie. I know you were giving me a tough time last night. Well, first of all, let's get me out there. That's the first goal, is to get me out there. I had mentioned to you guys that I do need to visit South Korea to visit relatives. So if that happens, I'll definitely reach out to you guys, because I know once I'm out there, it's relatively easy to get to other parts of Asia.
Absolutely.
So if that happens, I'll let you know. I'll let both of you know. But my cousin, she just had twins. I was showing you guys the pictures. Oh man, they're adorable. And I've been promising her for the past 3 years that I would go visit. She's the one that went to the Philippines with me. And we went out there, we were partying, man, and we had a great time. So I'll let you know. Let's talk a little bit about your business, okay? And we won't get too much into it. So you mentioned merch. You don't really do merch anymore. I mean, I think you maybe upload, just a little here and there, but Etsy's been your bread and butter at this point.
Etsy was, and actually didn't upload on merch from April of last year all the way till beginning of this year. So I went a good 7-8 months without uploading on merch at all. But I actually, from the beginning, we are putting a focus on merch and uploading, and then we are seeing a difference in that. But I don't personally, a lot of that work is outsourced from the design to the listing, although I do upload myself, but all the other parts of it are completely outsourced. And we have VAs that design it. I actually have VAs that research certain things and then design. And then also the listing part of the SEO keyword research and putting the actual listing together, all of that is outsourced. So it doesn't really take that much time.
Yeah. And then you were saying you guys have. Is it okay if I mention how many stores you have?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have 2 stores.
Yes.
We're not going to give the names or nothing, but you have 2 stores. One is a general store where you sell just T-shirts.
Yeah.
And then you said you have a mug store.
Yes.
Is there a reason why you keep them separated? Just curious.
Because the main reason is that I like to diversify things. So I want to have both stores at a level where each of them sustains themselves, and I don't want to have all the eggs in one basket. And one of the reasons is that at any time you're playing on Etsy or Amazon's court, right? Until you bring your products into a Shopify store or something that you control 100%. It is theirs, and anytime things can change. Whether the traffic coming to you, whether it's even the account getting closed for anything. Obviously, we all try to do
And it's
our
happened.
best.
It's happened
It
before.
happens.
I know people who had their accounts closed.
Yeah, it happens. So anything could happen. So for that reason, and also the team of the stores, we think that it looks kind of messy if you had. We talked about this, and we think it's if you have mugs mixed with shirts. Although a lot of stores do it,
Which I was doing, and I'll get into what I did currently in the past 2 weeks. Yeah.
and it could work. There's stores that are doing really well selling all kinds of stuff. But for us, the way we branded it, it just made more sense to have an apparel, clothing, and then have a mug store, and then from there we're looking into going a little bit more deeper into niches as well, so having niche specific things. But it just kind of made sense for us to do it that way.
Yeah.
So
No, I take everyone's advice. Yours, RJ's, Matt's, and after having talked to all you guys, because I had an Etsy store where I was selling. I have a general store, and when I say general, it was general. I was selling mugs, T-shirts, hoodies. I mean, everything was in that one store. And then I realized that's probably not the best way to go. It's okay to have a general store, but I think I was offering just way too many products. So what I did was, and obviously I told you this last week, I went into my Etsy store. I deleted everything that I have, and I started re-uploading from scratch. I'm just now offering my best sellers, which are T-shirts, tank tops, and crop tops. No more mugs, no more hoodies. Yeah, they sell like once every 3 months, but as much as I do, it's the tank tops and the tank tops and the T-shirts that sell the
especially
most.
now,
Yeah,
this summer.
I'm not, and I'm just choosing basic colors, right? Just your black, whites, navy, none of that, metallic gray, because the thing is with Printful, because I was integrated with Printful in the past, there were always discontinuing certain colors and products, and it's become a huge headache. So I'm now integrated with Nimble, which I talked about. We were able to work out the logistics, and I was telling you last night, I think my store is finally getting indexed by Etsy because I'm starting to see a lot more traffic and a lot more just a lot more action from consumers. Already got a couple of orders. They're just, like I said, Nimble, they're in the process of fulfilling it at the moment. So I'll keep the listeners and I'll keep you both posted on how that is working out.
Yeah, and I think what's important also to talk about is that what we do may work for some people, may not work for some people.
Yeah.
So for a store, it could work where they have a lot of products and colors. So it really depends on what are you doing with the store. What is your store's brand? And I think what's important, what worked for us was looking at the marketplace and not copying what the marketplace is doing, but what can we bring differently? What can your store do differently to stand out from the crowd? And I think when you're starting an Etsy store, that's really important to really think about your strategy and have it show in your branding of the page. And grow it that way. Like, for you, those things work. For us, also, we keep it limited. We have 2 color options. That's it. We have 2 color options, and then we keep it simple.
What are the 2 colors?
Black and gray.
Black and gray.
Yeah, we do black and gray. But then there's stores that do a lot more colors, and it works for them. So it just really depends. And whatever we do, I think they really need to look at how to do it differently than what's out there. What can you do unique?
Cool. Let's talk about before we go here. Let's talk about your Instagram page. It's a cool account. I follow you obviously, and I was telling you, it was funny because up until about December, it was always just pictures of you.
Right. It didn't change.
Right around December, I started to see this cute little girl with Houman, and I was like, what's going on here? And I'm like, he got himself a girl. So and I was right. You said you guys had met right around October,
November, end of October and November. Yeah.
So you guys were able to build your Instagram account. Now, are you guys leveraging that to sell any of your shirts?
No.
Or is this just to document your travels?
Just pretty much documenting it, and it's actually so the Instagram page is called Living List Journey, and it came from bucket list, right? So my thinking has always been like, let's not have bucket list, but do living list. Do what you want to do now.
Yeah.
If you want to travel, then make it so that you could travel. Whether it's communicating with your company that you're working with, whether it's your job, whatever it is, set it up so that you could have that lifestyle. So it's called Living List Journey, like living your life the way you want it. And it just been documenting it, and just wherever we go, we do videos and pictures of where we are, and at the end, so we do IGTV videos, which is very short, 1 to 2 minute videos, and at the end we always show like where we are, like name of the places and all those things. But we're not really leveraging at all. It's just more documenting what we do.
Man, and I'm jealous, man, because I've told you many times. I'm like, man, you're living the life that I'm supposed to be living, right? And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was very fortunate to have traveled a lot, but I want to do more, and I want to do more. And I see your photos, and then I see Rosie, and I'm like, these guys, man. Such a cute couple, and they're just going places. Oh man!
And we talked about this too. Like we talked about like what can you do to set it up so that you could have. I mean, some people not want to travel as much because it is hard on your body. It is traveling so much 7 months out of the year. Some people don't like it.
Yeah.
But if somebody does like it, we now live in a time that is the best ever to do that.
Yeah.
Like you could make money online, whether it's merch or Etsy, whatever it is, freelance jobs. The last generation couldn't do this.
No.
We're lucky to
have and I use my parents as an example. I always say, as much as I love my parents, I don't ever want to be like them. But then again, because my mom, at one point, dude, I remember my mom used to work 2 full-time jobs. She used to work a day shift, get off at 5, and then go to another full-time job. Get off like at 11 midnight, and then every 5 days, it was, for the whole week, it was she would just do that. And I always said, as much as I love my parents, I don't ever want to be like them. But granted, they didn't have the resources we have now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But we have, technology, obviously, the internet, e-commerce, and as long as we're innovative and work hard enough, I think we can all make this happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I think there needs to be kind of a sense of urgency as well, because we don't know how long it's going to be. I mean, we live in a great economical times.
Yeah.
And I think, we should just have that urgency as well to do as much we can every single day while we have this. And, maybe we'll have this another 10, 20 years, maybe forever.
Yeah.
Maybe next year it might not be. Yeah. Maybe the economy is bad and no one buys apparel. No one buys online anymore. So I think there should be a mix of like doing that and have that sense of urgency to do as much we can each day.
Yeah. No, we talk about the work-life balance, and you guys definitely have that. And just keep doing what you're doing, man. Because we talked about this, right? Like, you can make all the money in the world and buy the best luxury products, but at the end of the day, when we die, we can't take that with us. I mean, I guess technically you can, right? You can tell your family, bury me in my Armani suit and bury the Lamborghini with me. But let's be real here, right? You can't really take those with you. But the memories that you guys are creating right now, you can take that with you.
And that's what you have when you look back. Like you look at, last year. If you think about your previous year, you're gonna think about all these memories. You're gonna think about the time you spent with people you love. You're gonna think about the places that you went. You're not gonna say, "Oh, I really like, that Gucci bag that I bought." Like you don't think about that. Materialistic things or
I don't, I've been through that, in my 20s and 30s. I've always cared about how I dressed and how I looked. I don't care anymore. I'm at that age where I'm just like, again, I want to do a little more traveling. Dude, I've been itching to go back to Thailand and Asia, man. And it's been a while, and I want to go back. Man.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
We talk about it every single day. Like we look back at the first lesson, the first time we met, and until now, like we always remember about what we had been through.
Yeah.
We appreciate our life more.
Yeah.
Like we always tell him like, if I didn't met you, I probably like ended up working with like a 4 or 5 star hotel.
You would still be
or
working.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah, still working in the office like from 8 or 9 hours per day.
Man.
My life's been like that.
Yeah.
But like we appreciate what we're having right now.
You see what Houman did, right? Yeah, he brought you an opportunity to have that life experience, and you didn't like the guy at first. Come on, such a good-looking guy.
Everything takes time.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good thing because like I didn't fall for his appearance. I fall for his personality.
Sure.
That's why like whenever I will look back, it's a funny story.
Although he does dress good, he's very dapper, I must say.
But I think like it's a good start because like I fall in love with him because of who he is. Not because of who he is, but it's not because of like
that's awesome.
How we're looking here.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you both. I know I promised you guys 30 minutes, and I want to be very respectful of your time. I do appreciate both of you guys again talking. I know you guys are more kind of behind the scenes and don't like talking, so this was a very special treat for all of us.
Great. No, thank you for having us, and this was a treat for me as well because when I got into merch, I actually listened, and I mentioned this to you, was this podcast and RJ's actually. So you two were the podcasts and the YouTube videos that I always listen to. And it's good to be on here. And
what's funny, because so Houman and I we're in the same private Slack group, and we've probably been in that group for about 1.5 years. And I always remember seeing your name, but I never had a conversation with you. And then earlier this year, RJ mentioned you and how you were crushing Etsy. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, where's he from? He goes, he's in the Bay Area. I'm like, what? I got on the computer. I messaged you. We had lunch the next day, man. And it was awesome, and we hit it off. And I'm glad we did, man.
And the timing worked out because that was the time I was back for about a month because before that I was actually not even in the US.
Yeah.
I was abroad. So when we talked we met the day before I went back.
We had lunch the day before you went back, and I thought that was perfect timing. Man, hopefully in the next half a year or so, man, I can be out there with you guys.
Absolutely.
And we can.
There's no doubt.
Because you guys are obviously the cute couple. I'll bring the entertainment. I'll just make people laugh. Huh? How about it?
It'll be fun. It'll be
All
fun.
right.
We definitely we look forward to that, and it's good to be on here. And
Cool, man. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Glenn, make sure and go back and listen to it because he drops a lot of knowledge. That's for sure.
I can and I will. So when we do the edits, I'll make sure I go through that and listen to it.
Yeah, no, he's a really good guy too, man. He's very humble, and in fact, I was very surprised that he even agreed to do something like that. Again, he doesn't normally do interviews, man.
Yeah, he's like anything for you, Yong.
And he goes, Yong, you're my guy, you're my dude. He goes, I'll bend over backwards for you. You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
And he was like, if Glenn or RJ asks, no. But for you, Young,
Anything.
anything.
But so thank you, Houman. Again, it was a pleasure talking to you and his girlfriend. Again, it was funny. I don't want to ruin too much of the podcast for you because I do want you to go listen to it. But I follow him on Instagram,
Okay.
and for the longest time, he would post photos of himself traveling alone. Like he's in like Thailand or whatever, right? They're all solo shots of himself. And then right around December of last year, I started seeing like these pictures of a cute girl, and I was like, "Did Houman get himself a girl?" Right? And then like right around January, February, there were mostly pictures of her. I was like, "Oh, he did meet a girl."
Things have changed.
Yeah, things have changed. So good for him, man. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. And Glenn, again, prayers to you and your community. I know there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And
Yes, sir.
is there any way people can help? I know. You talked about people were donating blood. Is that something that people can do?
They can
Is that
still
is that what
donate
they're doing?
blood.
Okay.
Yes, they do have different funds that are out there as well. And there was one GoFundMe, like I think they were looking for like 5,000, and it was at 35,000 last time I checked. Like it was every help so far has been beyond,
Mm,
whatever minimum people are asking for. So it's been great right now. I'm trying also to see what else I can do. I contacted this like girls soccer team that they had a coach or two coaches ended up getting shot, and one of them still in critical condition. I wanted to see if I could donate, cleats or soccer balls or something that I'm used to sourcing anyway to help, because
yeah.
they were doing fundraiser for their next season, trying to get new equipment. So I'm trying to see if I can donate, equipment or something. So, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything back from them. I bet right now it's just like super
I'm
swamped.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
they're
it's just
probably getting swamped
yeah.
with messages. Well, how about this then, Glenn? Why don't we do this? How about for the listeners? Okay, um, if you guys want to help out, um, why not donate cleats? Send them to Hustler Hacks. How about that? Huh? In
Yeah, I
fact,
think
I'll be the first one to send you a pair. Just tell me what brand and size, and I'll for sure send you a pair, man.
yeah, it sounds good. I mean,
Just don't
definitely
sell
hope
it on eBay. If I see it on eBay, I'm gonna have to go out there and give you a piece of my mind.
kids cleats definitely is what they would need. So I think they're like 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
So I think that's what they were looking for. And even then I was trying to see what I could do, if I can buy them from my own subscribers or if I could at least pay for shipping from my subscribers. I don't know yet. I'm waiting, like I said, to hear from them and see what they would need. And then I will, just kind of go from there. So, but
Yeah.
I'll definitely keep everybody posted.
No, but no, hey, no, but seriously, no, we'll just throw it out there now. If any of you guys want to help El Paso through Hustler Hacks, you said there's been a couple of coaches who were injured. Let's help out the community and the team by maybe donating some soccer. Is it soccer or football?
Soccer, yeah.
Soccer cleats for 11 to 13-year-olds. Again, Glenn, after this, just tell me what to buy, and I'll be the first one.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate that.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya.